who's guilty of crippling a lot of the Billy Depp's children? Izzy Garrow, Chris Vandenberg, Lynn Vandenberg, Norma Depp Garrow Depp, Lisa Maynard, who was Lisa Depp, um, and all of Izzy's probably supporting family. Now they've got Dina and Bobby involved. Bobby speaks to my mind. Bobby Garrow speaks to my mind, saying he's got $10,000 for me. Who's giving my hates us cousins money to hold on to for us? And it's illegal because we weren't present at this reading of somebody's will. But Norm and Izzy split, and we thought that was it, but it still goes on. Um, and so I found this. I was watching something on the Royals because somebody said, "You're related to the Royals. You and Jamie are related to the Royals somehow." And I was like, why wouldn't the rest of my brothers and sisters be? Well, we don't know whose they are because your father's father used to do DNA and baby snatching, and I didn't know what to make of it. And I went on to this royalty thing to find out more about the royals, and one of the recordings is Prince Andrew, the problem prince. And 9 minutes and 20 seconds in, I was looking down and I heard a familiar voice. I'm telling you, I was a child when my father's father was alive. And I recognized the voice, and then I looked up and I recognized this likeness. This Ralph Sneed is Papa. And uh, he's he's talking about Prince Andrew winning the Falkland Islands and stuff. There's a lot of praycations involved where you're reading into everything. Like, I think it just has to do with me and my belligerence, like the Falkland, all this material these comedians are going to get out of it, the Falkland Islands and everything. But how do you explain? There's my grandfather, and then his voices are saying, they're like fainting when they see my grandfather's likeness. I don't know how old the video is. It's anywhere from the late 80s into the 90s. And my grandfather, Papa, he died in the maybe the mid 80s. And then my own father, at 47 years old, died in 97. He didn't take care of himself. He was a heavy smoker. He didn't rest much. He didn't eat right. And so he passed away at a young age. And his father died of some form of cancer. And I heard that my dad came home with my sister Elizabeth and said, "We kidnapped the Lindbergh baby. Oh, she's the Lindbergh baby." And we played with this baby, which she was older, and we spin her around and everything. And my mother claims, no, she had a heart murmur and she was in the hospital longer and had to stay in the hospital. So, I mean, she looks like us, but they're splicing DNA a long time ago through these accessed realms. And if you got money, you can play. And so my family was hardworking, had pizza shops, and worked for Freihofer's Bakery. And so, and also Price Chopper, which is now Fresh Market. And so they were blue collar types, but worked many, many hours and must have qualified to staycate. And so I heard that some of my family became sort of like mobsters and terrorized people through staycations, and others, like my grandfather Papa, went into praycations and was like, "Oh, Prince Andrew doesn't, you know." care what happens with his DNA. Well, I'll extract his DNA and we'll make royals of our own. And now we're not sure. Was it our Papa or was it this Rail Sneed person? And who was Papa to us? He owned a pizza parlor and we witnessed it. It wasn't just, hypothetical, oh, Papa's going to work or whatever. He actually had Mama G's Pizza, Diana Depp, and everything. And we were like, the Royals mountain lions because we had those features, and then here comes David Miscavige to research it, and he sees a white horse, and that's all he sees when he looks at me. Everybody's like, "That's a cat," and then they had me look at the moon. For some reason, I was always told, "Don't stare at the moon." And one night, I'm just sitting alone at a bus stop, and I'm looking up at the moon, and I heard Manan's police say that is a full blown horse. So, I mean, the Father in Jesus, he told me she's the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an eagle, and the face of an ox. It's mentioned in the book of Revelation. But the faces, and they're like, get her when she's an ox, like getting at me. They're all like playing this game against me, and I'm sort of saying, hey, like, snap out of it yourselves. I'm a real person. And I never did get to be rich and famous, so I really don't need this paparazzi mentality where you're all circling me in your motorcycles trying to get the best snapshot, which is usually the worst angle, is the best snapshot for these people, and doing all these things to me. And then I heard also they said you're our royal pains in the ass, and we don't want you to have anything, and they were supposed to relinquish properties to us and control of an area to us. But see, L. Ron Hubbard had this area. So there's all these like territory arguments about territory. And L. Ron Hubbard used to have this property, but he wouldn't not maintain it. And then the military bought it up, and it would seem like um, the wrong kind of military where the people that wrongly tortured people in um, Guantanamo Bay and took pictures of them electrocuting prisoners and thinking it's the coolest thing. That's the mentality around here too, and they're saying that see. Scientology doesn't have it anymore, or L. Ron Hubbard doesn't have it anymore, but this isn't the right kind of military to have it, and we're like a turnkey this and a turnkey that. The right amount of money buys it. And I was screaming up at David, like, get me out of here. He said, the only thing I could do for you is pay for better weather. And then Shelly is involved. Where is she? She's a sniper. She's hiding, and she's attacking people like us. And these other families, they don't want us. I don't want them taking my inheritance. I don't want them taking what's mine. Jenna doesn't want me receiving anything that's got to go to her as David's niece, and L. Ron Hubbard's family, although they've kind of uh, denounced L. Ron Hubbard in a lot of ways. They would probably, in front of a court, might possibly have at least an argument. Nobody's going to court about this. They all panicked and basically stuffed us away, and they get to all like the psycho in Schindler's List, like hang out over the balcony and just shoot us at random. And how are they doing that? Getting totally outside of what this is really um, three or four major families, three or four major families arguing over us as property, land as property, houses as dwelling places on somebody's property, leadership of the area, and who has rightful ownership, who are the rightful heirs to this property. And then I found out the Methodist Church is involved, the other churches are involved, the Mormon Church, the Methodist Church, and not just Scientology, and the United States Navy, and now I found out the Royal Navy. And somebody said, you're being jagged. And I said, "What's jagging?" I looked up jagged, jag core, Albany, New York, jag core, jag, not job core. This isn't Rachel get a job and take your medicine at the same time game anymore. So sick of you. We were hoping she would become Jewish out of this. Sorry, you do not understand true Christianity, nor do you understand true Judaism. Because you don't beat the shit out of some Christians before until they say, "Oh, I guess I practiced idolatry," and suddenly they're Jewish. So it's a bunch of people having a lot of fun, attacking people that were wired against their will. And so mine was the best place wire, and so they go on all day long attacking me. They don't have a legal right to do this, so they're doing it quietly and secretly. And our government is looking the other way. And then I find out Terminix wanted the house that I was living at. They've wanted it before I ever even considered living there. It's the location. That house, through that house, you can access all over the earth. And one family, Wagoner, and their cousins and stuff were trying to acquire rooms in all the houses. And I strolled up onto the property, and a man from Albania named Vladimir offered me the efficiency apartment, but it was $1,000 a month, and even that was too much. So I had to leave. It was a month-to-month rent. I was not evicted. Then Ms. Wagner left, and just like I said, she was not going to stay if she's going to work for a lawyer. Her pay is going to increase, and she won't need this little one-bedroom apartment that she's living downstairs in. So that dispersed that attempt to access parts of the world, and now the house is still Vladimir's and his wife, another pizza parlor owner, and his wife. They're immigrants from Albania, and Terminix has said that's our house because we put trim of teak to draw or test powder post beetle chemical. We've got the box elder tree to draw box elder bugs so we can learn how they are and study how they are. We've got carpenter ants in this area. We've got everything. It's our house. And he says, I bought it. It's my life savings. So, but it's all in the mind arguments. It's not anything in the court. And that's because Terminix wants to take over the world too. Or is it the members of Terminix that are basically no good anyway? Just like members of military, just like members of the Royal Navy, just like certain people around town and certain people in government. So, got really families shouldn't be fighting families because we especially Depp shouldn't be fighting Depp, but we will never get over bad blood because we're supposed to govern over this area. But we were put through tests and everybody behaved awfully, but all they talk about is me and my mental illness and how I've been in trouble with the law. But what I hear is my sister was in a fatal car accident. Somebody died and she's not supposed to be driving. My brother keeps riding up the ass of county vehicles to get out of his way so he can get to work. He's not supposed to be driving. His wife probably isn't supposed to be driving. I don't even think she's literate anymore because you're on your machine too much and you guys aren't right in your head. And so I'm the most right in my head, and that's frightening. So everybody wants to push us all out of the way and take over and shove us off. And they'll do it any way they can. So it's only a matter of time before those people that are doing this, that they'll get turned over. And then we're being poisoned, all of us. Mercury poison, airborne mercury, waterborne problems. So everybody wanting to take over the world has done themselves in, and there's a bunch of bystanders. That I drove here. It seemed like New York. Yes, I accidentally overshot New York and hit Canada and came back, but I mean, I doubled back and went back to my brother's house, and So it's ruined now because everybody was not really sure what it was about. So now Terminix was just bought out by Rent-A-Kill. Rent-A-Kill is owned by the United Kingdom. And so here we are. We're proverbial pests. We're royal pains in the ass. We can't get it together. Neither can they. And you see, they're not doing too good either. Got a couple of them have cancer, and they're probably going to die from that. The other is the one that's inciting racist violence, saying white people are inherently racist. You took one look at us and said we're a potential racist. That's, in the very least, prejudiced. You looked at us and you made a determination. But you yourself are at least half white, or you have mixed race. So that's all I was saying. And then these other guys just don't want to be rejected. So they're going to call out racism. So I'm trying to sum it up, and I'm putting it on my Facebook account as Rach Depth because I've had so many Rachel Depp accounts. Then the copies and the fig accounts that are figging me, and then there's copycats that are hoping there's some form of money or power or people rubbing elbows with the people out of it. They have all the way down into like Brazil copied my name on Facebook. So I don't know who would want to be me, although I'm doing better than I was. But there are some of us that are not allowed to be harmed, which you've harmed us. Some of us that you're not going to kill us before you die first. So stop bothering. Stop sending people to harass me because you don't want me to enjoy myself. You shortened your own lives by attacking us. And that's it.